have that instinct automatically? Because remember, some of this stuff is genetic. They either have it or they don't, right? This is what it's all about, people. Attack the boy! He must know that I'm in the dog fight with him. I'm next to him side by side. We have a bond that's unbreakable. What's up, people? Back at it. Want to make sure people get in here. Start logging in. Logged in a few minutes early, but shit. Oh well, I'll wait for you. Some of you guys are gonna be on CP time anyway. Come on in, come on in. Yeah. Got a few minutes before we start. People on TikTok, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? Thumbs up if you can hear me. There you go. Now you can hear me. Good. One more minute. Like my son used to say, 1 minute. All right. So, people, today's going to be a good show. You just got me. And I want to talk about some of those things that people who are in this subculture call the dog game that we've talked about, we've experienced, that we've disliked, that we liked, that we thought was political or biased or just plain out fishy as shit. So let me tell you my little backstory. Originally, I was a part of the culture where I wanted to be in competition. My first dog that I competed, let the truth be told, was my red dog Alonzo. And we called it IPO then. Before that, it was called Shih Tzu. When I was doing it, it's called IPO. I was able to compete and put a BH on my boy at Nathaniel's Field, and then later on do an IPO 1A. 1A means without the tracking. By that time, Alonzo was already 4 years old. It had been very, very hard on him to learn how to track, because basically we had to starve his ass, start all over. So we did an IPO 1A. I did the handling. I did the training with the assistance of Wolfgang out here in Gardena. And it was nice. Now, because I wasn't a part of a club, I didn't know the politics involved. I just signed up one day and I paid the membership for the national club annual membership. And I was not a part of a club. Wasn't a part of no cliques. I think when I was getting my dog dialed in for Shih Tzu, well, IPO, Latimer Cooper, Laddie, was coming over to Wolfgang's as well. And he dealt with more of the white dobies, the blues, the fawns, and that was his thing. But as I got more involved with my family, made another kid, et cetera, the time that it takes to get these dogs ready for competition is excruciating, and it's hours, countless hours a week, sometimes hours per day. And when I was at Wolfgang, I was probably practicing from 6 to 8, 6 to 9. And at Wolfgang Field, if you guys don't know, Wolfgang doesn't have electricity over there. So when it got dark, he had to put a generator on. Anyway, fast forward. A lot of these clubs are everywhere. And you got Ring Sport, Mondio, PSA, this new one called Street League. And I've noticed that a lot of them, not all, but a lot of them are very cliquish. And, you know, there are some things that goes on that we're going to talk about shortly here that I think is a huge conflict of interest. And I would say it's in the community I used to be a part of, it's called over-familiarity. Let me speak on over-familiarity. So, welcome in, Free Phone. So over-familiarity and conflict of interest almost go hand in hand. I'm going to give you a story about first of all, a guy named OJ, Otis James Knighton. I met him on a hilltop up here at Stocker and La Brea. OJ used to run the PSA club, but prior to that, before he ran the PSA club, he saw some nefarious things going on. Judges are being bought. Women are being bought for judges when they come in. Training with the judges. It's just too much going on. So OJ said, there's too much fuckery going on. So OJ was over the club in LA for a period of time. So now, let's go to Ring Sport. Now, people who know me know that there's a particular individual that I have a big difference with. And it's been going on for 10 years, and it will go on for another 20 or 30 years. But let me tell you let me explain how I think it's political. But let me put it in the context of sports. Somebody told me, they said the reason why they love baseball is because when you hit a home run, it's a home run. It is what it is. Every other sport, they could take it away from you. It's a figure eight. You know, it's subjective. One judge may say you did a 10. The other judge may say you did an 8 or 7. But a home run is a home run. So during this course of me digging the Ring Sport thing, me knowing Adrian Santano and knowing the other clubs, there was a particular club owner here in LA that he would have. I'm going to tell you how fucked up it is. Most people in America, like me and you, we work on Monday. We work on Sunday. Sometimes. We work on Tuesday. We really work on Wednesday because now that's considered a hump day. Right? We like in the middle. We got 2 more days. This particular trainer, and the documented proof, ain't nobody gonna refute it. What he would do, he would have a club trial on a Monday and a Tuesday. It was closed off to the public. Closed off to the public. The members of that club had to get, the people who come to the show had to be a guest of one of the members. And they had to be approved by the club owner. And on some cases, this particular dude was charging admission to get in. The kind of fees that will discourage a person from coming. They would fly the judge in, Some of this shit still goes on. Take him out to eat, pat him on his back, and you expect that judge to judge your dog with clarity or with persuasion. All of a sudden, this club owner's dog get not one, but 2 fucking titles, a ring 2 and a ring 3 in 2 days. It's not unheard of, but it's not common. Now, how does that happen? Well, simply put, one can only speculate. You know how it can't happen? If the dog didn't really pass, he's passing now. Quantify that. You can't. Because what is his club members going to say? They can't say nothing because they get put out the club. You see, people, there's a fine line of doing things ethical, but pushing the envelope. But there's not a fine line when doing things ethical and deliberately being unethical. I've heard of some of the schützen clubs around here now. This has happened. I'm not making this shit up. You know, one of the things during an IPO 1 trial or 2 or 3 is that the pop gun, they have to fire a gun while the dog is in a hill position, walking the course of the field with his owner. And the dog cannot be distracted or startled. I've heard in some cases now, this is recent, where the guy who carries the gun, pops the gun, he does it in the fucking parking lot underneath a car to muzzle the sound. Because if that guy popped that gun on the field that he's supposed to be standing on, this dog may not pass. How's that? How have we forgotten that if everything we do is political, with hypocrisy, cronism, nepotism, why can't it be in the dog community? You know, there was a guy that I will be interviewing pretty soon. He's a big-time schützen guy, lives in Georgia, and he happens to be a man of color, and he loves schützen. Been doing it probably 30 years. From here, from the United States. He goes to Germany, kicks the Germans' ass in their own sport, but he only got second place. Should have got first. You think they're going to give a guy of color first place on a sport that was created in Germany? Nah. Political. How does it happen, people, where you have clubs that make their own rules? How is it possible that the rules that were set in place are supposed to govern every club, but the club can buy the judge some pussy the night before? Yeah, this has happened. So what are you going to do? You can't DQ anybody. And here's another thing, too. And by the way, I'm representing my boy Marcus Wallace, who's running for mayor in Jackson. That's my hometown, people. It states that let's build a better Jackson. Jackson is going through a little bit of a crisis right now, but we only got one direction to go, and that's up. That's my little plug. But explain this to me, people. How is it that the person that owns the club still can own the club and be identified as a ring sport club with all the rules that they break And it's very evident. Politics, money. That's how it happens. I'd like to know what some of your views are on this stuff, because I know that you got some questions, some comments, some concerns. So, but if you're thinking about doing dog sport, think twice. Think very, very cautiously, and know when you're out of bounds. That's what he said in prison. Not that I was an inmate. I used to work there almost every other day. You're out of bounds. The inmates tell somebody you're out of bounds. You know what that means? So now we have to worry about judges who are. Here's another thing too, guys. I want you guys to ask me this shit. Answer this shit. Riddle me this shit. How is it that the same judge of your competition is the same judge that you train with on the field on a weekly basis? How is that possible? Explain that. That's like a guy that is going to court to get his case thrown out. But he goes golfing with the same DA. Over familiarity. I want to hear you guys' questions, comments, and concerns. And I want to know your views on this, because when I brought this topic up, I had a few people hit me up and said, man, all the protection sports are fucking rigged. I'm not going to say the names of what people told me, but just understand, you talk to anybody that's in the dog community, that's in a dog protection sport, where they're graded by numbers if the game is not rigged. What's going on, Jermaine Knox 313? Is that Michigan, Detroit? I see my boy Caleb, West Monix, like your French Jerome. So yeah, and it's interesting because when you talk about dog sports, there's money to be made on here. But when there's money to be made, the risks are higher, the stakes are higher, and the room for error is very small. And it still depends how cool you are with the judge, because the judge's points are somewhat, they're subjective, very subjective. They can grade you they can take a point from you for this, or they can give you a break. It's called discretion. So when you have discretion, you better use it towards every person that is trialing that day. Humans can't do that. That's like when I was a cop. Everybody I stopped, I didn't give a ticket. I used discretion. Some I did, some I didn't. The ones I did, I ran your driver license before I came back to the car. If you had 5 other violations for the same shit, I'm going to add to that. But then you got some people who've never had a speeding ticket, or in the past 3 or 4 years. I'll write a warning. It's discretion. And I think these dog clubs, well, the governing entity that oversees the clubs, need to have more strict regulations. They need to start handing out fines. That's when you start making a motherfucker realize who you are. Like I with Kappa, I'm part of a fraternity, and I know if somebody gets suspended or expelled or get reinstated, there's a fine involved. And usually it can go from 500 to 1,500 to 2,500. Now you pay that on how bad you want to be a part of that club again. But it's too much politics, too much power tripping. You know, some of these clubs that are being formed or have formed, it's not being equally shared. You probably have one guy that started a club, but the one guy that starts the club ain't put $10 down, but he's regulating. I think if you are a part of something, everybody should be equally responsible for it on all phases. So now you may have somebody on a power trip. Makes it very uncomfortable for a 53-year-old motherfucker that I got to take shit from somebody who has no skin in the game, who's merely put in an application, haven't even paid the liability insurance. But it's their club. Going back to the other guy. I haven't known of him, and those who know me know who the fuck I'm talking about. Don't make me call his ass out. But I haven't seen where he have a trial. Here's crazy. So he'll have a trial date. Let me tell you how some clubs operate. They do as they want. He'll have a trial date set for April 1st. He want to announce it to the Ring Sport Association, NARA, to 2 weeks prior. So now anybody who's checking the website can't rearrange their personal life to go to the trial. But then you have the trial during a fucking work day. Now, I take it, regional trials usually go from Friday and Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We get that. But they're not doing Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, dog. You know we at work, dog. Now, my voice is getting too loud, and people are actually listening to what I have to say because I'm in your shoes. I'm not a dog trainer. I'm not a certified decoy. Do I know how to train dogs? My dogs, yeah. Am I out there taking bites, taking L's, trying to chase money down for people who owe you for training that they haven't paid you yet? And this is how I keep my... No, I'm not. So I'm not taking that from them. But I see the bullshit that goes on in this subculture, and the money is in obedience, training, and competition. Now, Street League is a fairly new protection sport. I like the concept. I'm not hating on it. And guess what? They pay to winners. I think my boy Donnell, a.k.a. Psych, won first place twice, maybe twice. Yeah, but he got first place, and he walked away with some money. That's rewarding. And I'll say this, that you have to win beyond a shadow of a doubt so that anybody who goes on that podium as number one and you're number two, you got to make sure you are leading by a hell of an amount of points. So if they decide to not let you win, then guess what? Everybody knows it's bullshit. So my hat's off to Psych for going up there and kicking ass in somebody else's sport, somebody else's club. That won't happen in these other rigged ass clubs. Not saying that sport league is a rigged sport. It's not. But a particular club has just basically showed me that there's a lot of clubs like that. It's a lot of politics. And if that's your life of lying, being deceitful, and now we have to do extra, and bro, I never really forgot who I was then. You know, as a black man, I've always tried to excel 110% at everything I do, people. If you notice me, I did bodybuilding, dog, I titled my dog. I've been successful in my personal life, but I've had a lot of fucking failures too. More failures than successes. And I will say this, you know, if you're going to be in this protection sport for the monetary aspect and because of the love of the breed, of the love of the sport, put your best foot forward. And I'm going to tell you something right. You're going to have to beat everybody by a huge margin because a lot of these clubs now are just, they buying their judges. The judges are getting bought. They're getting flown in. They're getting put up in a nice hotel. And they're probably getting a piece of ass that's being bought for them. Getting dinners. How do you have dinner the day before the trial? How do you have a lavish dinner the day before the trial? And how do you think that judge is supposed to be the next day after you showed him a good time? You think that judge is going to flunk your dog after you just fed his ass $200 worth of food? I don't think so. So now the lines are blurry. Thanks, everybody. Yeah. Oh, thanks, OG. Yeah. Jerry Dudley. Hey, your dog's days going so far now. They're going good, man. I mean, you know, I'm up here trying to like talk to you guys about this, the fuckery in the dog sport world. I tell you guys a little secret that I'm gonna let out pretty soon. I'm gonna start handling my own dogs. At least one of them. Somebody told me you're gonna handle Cisco. Okay, I'm gonna do it. That's all you gotta do is tell me once. If you're gonna do anything in life at this stage in your game, do your best. Leave nothing behind. Leave nothing questioned. And those who are, I'm gonna go there. At 53, I'm going to be 54 in September. You still have people that tell you that they hope you do well. And then when you do, they're pissed off because they wasn't thinking you were going to do it. And then you got people out there, and I wear my emotions on my sleeve. You got people out there that will try to press that proverbial button in you. I had a guy a few weeks ago to literally press a button that is like a knife that somebody sticks in you and twist it. And him not knowing the whole story, he takes bits and pieces from it, from other people that gives him bits and pieces from it. And guess what? He formulates his own opinion. And the only thing he could do is press that button. And I thought about it. I have taken nothing from this sport, from this subculture. If there's anything, I've given to it. And when you got somebody who is probably jealous, maybe, who's probably disappointed in himself for them not being successful or accomplishing whatever they're trying to ascertain, then misery loves company. So this particular person presses that one button that he knows that will infuriate me. Everybody knows this button infuriates me. So why go there? So I have to think about it. I'm letting a guy who's fucking 20-something years younger than me piss me off over some dog shit. But this is how this dog sport is. This dog community is full of jealousy, deceit, and hatred. And it's unfortunate. I was a part of a club, a Grand National club. Buick Grand. I've had my Grand National for 20 years now. Yeah, 20 years. It's sitting right over there. That's why I'm looking at it. 20 years. And when I got into the club, I bought the jacket. I bought the shirt. I bought the car keys. I bought this. I bought that. I even went to what is it called? It's in Kentucky. Once a year they have Bowling Green, Kentucky. Once a year they have a Buick Grand National conference. I even flew there. Because when I go in, I go all the way in. And then guess what happened? We would have these cruises where you'd be seeing 10, 12 Buick Grand Nationals cruising up and down PCH. And I thought that was the best. And then when we get back to Round Table Pizza, these guys want to fight each other over car shit. My car is better than your car. Your car ain't shit. Wow. I thought this is supposed to bring us together, but actually it's dividing us. So I got out of that club. I don't need a fucking club when I'm driving my car. So what I'm noticing now, that in this dog sport, I got to keep my circle very, very fucking tight. When you start letting other cats in who have, first of all, I don't even know the guy's real last name, who I'm talking about. And we cool right now, but I ain't forgot shit. And just the vitriol and the shit talking that happened to me, it's like, you know, people talk shit to you so bad once every 10, 12 years. It's almost like when you meet a girl and you're my age, you can realize like, damn, nice women that are beautiful women that are beautiful on the inside and outside come once every 8, 10 years, maybe. So you start realizing like, motherfucker, there's not a bunch of people that was made like the last one or the one before that. Because what you've been meeting in between is bullshit, stress. So now you start thinking like, in this dog game, it's quid pro quo. I get that. This for that. I get that. But when you got a guy that has added nothing to you, and he sits and talks the craziest shit that your own woman would even talk to you about, or even the clowns in the street wouldn't even have the balls to say it in my face. And everything has been told has been to a degree where it sounds like I'm the clown. How is that? You know how that is? The clubs are fucked up. And now you got people with that same mentality running the clubs that you're probably part of. So now you know what my grandma would say, boy, if you lay down with dogs, you get up with fleas. If you're going to be a part of a dog club, you guys need to be cohesive, be as one like Frankie Beverly, and everybody else who is trying to use you or take advantage of what you have for them to use or talk shit behind your back. Hey, man, exclusion. If you talk to these dog trainers here in the greater LA area, Northern California, Southern California, there's only a good handful that they may not like each other as much, but it's massive fucking respect. All of them got their own style of training, their own philosophy in dog training, but they have respect in front and behind them when they're not in the front of them and when they're not in their presence. They respect them. But you got these new jack motherfuckers that coming on the scene Be careful. Like I said, I'm a little bit scarred behind that because nobody goes deep. I give you guys a little secret. You guys may not know this. Well, most of you guys don't know. My mother battled with major drug addiction for most of me and my twin brother's life. Like from when I was 5 years old, I can remember her sifting seeds out of the marijuana when marijuana was sold with seeds in them. Then in the 80s, it started with cocaine and crack, where I would see burnt up aluminum pieces of foil throughout the house. All right? So when you grow up like that, you kind of get desensitized to that kind of shit. But then as you get mature, you center yourself around people that are the total opposite. And when you got somebody that identifies your weakness and they go for it, that's a person you need to stay away from. And now, I wouldn't be surprised if that individual befriends this individual and they're buddies. Because that's what haters do. They get with other haters, so now they can talk about the hate together like bitches. But this dog sport is rigged to a degree. You got to come in there and put your shit down. Let's take some questions. Do you know if you remember me? But I am on NWA Candy Corso YouTube that he did with you. Yeah, I remember you, Jerry. What's going on, brother? Hey, God, I'm really appreciating you guys chiming in here. And I want to see if you guys have any kind of questions, any kind of comments, because hopefully this video that I did here would shed some light on this. If you're trying to compete, be mindful that there's going to be favoritism involved. I remember when I tried to compete in Phelan. I think it's spelled Phealn. No, Phelan. Phelan, Phelan, California. Whatever the hell is it? I remember that I told Steve-O, who's in Mississippi now, that I wanted to do IPO. And Steve-O was like, okay, you can do IPO, but you got to know the routine. Okay, I'm going to learn the routine. So I would have put a BH on Alonzo 4 months prior, but I didn't know that there was a written test involved. Right? I didn't know. And I went to Phelan, got up at 7 a.m., drove 2 hours. I took the written test and I failed it. So when you don't pass the written test to get your BH, you can't compete that day. Your day is done. So I studied. And of course, the questions are online. You can open book online, but when you get there, you got to know your shit. Like how many steps forward, what is the long down, and all this other stuff. And the next time I took it, I passed it. So you can't half-ass when you come into this dog game if you're going to compete. Because some of these things, when you go to a local level, you get to go to a regional level, and then a national level, the money's there. And then if you're going to be a breeder, this adds to your resume that your dog's offsprings are worth some money, and or your training techniques have been validated by the work you put on the floor or on the ground out in the field. Therefore, you can get clients for training. What's this right here? Jerry Dudley. My favorite Doberman of yours was definitely broke. Yeah, man. And that's another thing right there, bro. Let me tell you how how vitriol the guy was to me. He told me that all of my dogs, this guy's known me for 4 years, all of my dogs have been shit. All of my dogs? So, damn, you only known me for 3-4 years, homie. And you haven't even been in California 10. But all my dogs are shit. Not 1 or 2. All of them. And I've been nothing but gracious to this dude. But you brought back memories. People don't remember. A lot of people remember Brody, but he doesn't because he wasn't around. Brody was an IPO 2 dog. He would have got a fucking 3 if he had better days when he's tracking. And Alonzo, people forgot Alonzo. I trained in the hood with Lewis Williams. And if you're gonna have a real dog, if you don't have a real dog, don't come to his class because your dog's gonna be exposed, and you're gonna realize you ain't got what you thought you had. Alonzo was that dog. That same dog went to a field in Compton and showed the fuck out. I was the handler. But then again, you got a guy that said all my dogs were shit. This is what he told me. Don't even know my middle name. You see the hatred, people, that's in these clubs? And this is infectious. In these clubs, if you're not part, I'm going to give you an example. I love examples. When I was a police officer, it's many years ago when I had hair, there was cliques on these shifts. I was working the Bravo shift, which is 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. And then somebody who had more seniority who wanted that shift, I would get bumped, and I worked the 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. But every shift, these guys had cliques. These are the same guys that go out, get fucked up, drunk, driving with a gun. They're cliques. And if one of the boys from the other shift stops them, nothing happening. It's cliques. I was never a clique guy. We be cool. I want to be a part of no cliques. I want to be a part of somebody who wants to go somewhere, who has vision, who likes ideas, who want to utilize what I have to offer, which is my brain and my resources. And we do something together. Everybody has something to bring to the table. Everybody. When you're part of these clubs, getting judges to train with you, the same judge trained with you is the same judge that's the director of the association. How does that happen? Clicks. Over familiarity. How come you never got any of Brody kids? Good question, JD. Well, I did. I've had a couple. Actually, you know, that's a good question. You never know. You would never think your dog's going to die at 4.5, 5 years of age. So trying to get a puppy from him at that time wasn't a big deal because I had 2 of the best goddamn Dobermans in Southern California living, Alonzo and Brody. So you're not thinking like, motherfucker going to die from hemorrhaging on the prostates. He ain't knowing that. You just wake up one day, nigga barely can walk. And 2 hours later, he's dead. So I bred him right before he passed away. And I did have a male from him. And that male was getting punked by Casanova, which Casanova was probably 2 months younger. Gave him away at 6 months. Can't do it. Because Brody and Alonzo have set a standard that if they don't pass those standards, I'm not keeping the dog for no 8, 9, 10, 12 months. Ain't happening. You know what's funny? I'm not gonna go there with that one. So then I had another guy who had a son of Brody's, but I didn't raise that dog. That dog had issues that they had imprinted in him. The dog attacked me a couple of times. I'm feeding the fuck out of him, giving him everything he needs, let him do protection work. But he doesn't take the prong well at all. He loads up. And if you're feeding him, he wants to bite you. And when you start growling at that time, my son was 7 or 8, 7. When you're growling at my son through the damn fence, we got a problem. And I know that Bo would bite your ass because he's bit me. And I'm the nigga that fed him. Webby Gray, what's up, brother? I appreciate you, man, for following me, man. That's some good stuff, man. That's a good question. Do I enjoy tracking my dogs? No, I don't. Because they go through this metabolic change. The ribs are showing. The spine is showing. They don't eat for a couple of days. No, I don't like it. That's why I didn't do it on Alonzo, because he was already 4 or 5 years old. For me to put him through those changes to try to make him track, I didn't do it. So I don't like the phases. I think if you're going to do tracking on a dog, you need to start them out as puppies, because you're not going to starve the shit out of a puppy, but you have to starve the shit out of a grown dog. When you do it with puppies, with luring and stuff like that, it gets them used to tracking already. So I would have started young. Ashton Edwards, appreciate it, homie. Ashton says, dog research on protection sports now, and this is a good live to tune into. Yeah, man. Listen, man. You're gonna get a part of the sport, no matter if it's Mondio, ring sport, PSA, IGP now, and I think K9 Matt would tell me it's called an ABA or ABBA, something like that. Me personally, I'm loving the PSA sport now. It's more realistic to my lifestyle. You know, my dogs in real life is not going to go behind a building and start barking at somebody. You know, my dog needs to have distractions, and he needs to know not to fuck with those distractions until I say it's okay. So that's why PSA, to me, I really like that sport better now. Now that I know all the differences. I have a female Doberman importing now to the U.S. in 4 weeks. And I've been reading and studying and preparing. Now it's early, but I'm taking this serious. CGC is good. Hey, guess what? I'm an AKC evaluator. CGC, Canine Good Citizenship, and the CGCA, those are really good titles. People, believe it or not, CGC and the CGCA and the urban title from AKC are actual titles. So that means because it's AKC sponsored, if your dog is a AKC registered dog, that goes on his pedigree. See, the sports that I did with Shitson and IGP, Ring Sport, where Alonzo got a brevet with the assistance of Adrian Santeno, and I think Yachty was the handler. Those titles are not listed on AKC's pedigree because those are not AKC sponsored. You have to go to the UDC, the United Doberman Club, AKC sponsored events for them to recognize and put it on your pedigree. But yeah, CGC is an actual title, and it goes on your pedigree once you pay that $5 or $7 to have it listed. So I would take a good look at that, and it's not that hard to pass. Where did my chocolate Doberman come from? I bought Alonzo in 2010 from King of Darkness out in Hungary. I'm getting a Rottweiler puppy soon, bro. You already been a Rottweiler owner. What's something you can give me a heads up on? Well, I can't say every and all because there's no such thing as that. But them son of bitches, they need to be socialized real quick because people who got Rottweilers, most of them do exactly what they're supposed to do, protect. And, Rottweilers to me are the Rolls Royces of Dobermans, of dogs, because they got the size, the stealth, the head, the power. And, a lot of PD stopped using the Rottweilers because of the massive PSIs on their bite. That's why these Malinois are so great for this police protection dog. They're flesh wounds. They won't break a bone, but they will get down to the white meat. So my man from the South Bay, Malinois, Donnell, is checking in. Appreciate you checking in, bro. You guys need to follow him, man. He's doing a lot of things, man, with his resources. You got to admire people who are out there grinding every fucking day. And you got to acknowledge that they are grinding every fucking day so you can have a field to play on. He's not doing it for his health. He's doing it because he has a passion for it. He has a gift for it. But you got to admire and recognize his hard work. Check him out, man. South Bay Malinois. He's on YouTube when he wants to be. He's on Instagram, South Bay Malinois. I think he's got a goddamn Facebook account too. Well, people, this is going to be the end of my series. I think I talked enough. I think I've ranted enough. And I'm always going to say, hey, man, you know what? Be resilient, but be responsible. Until next time.